In this video, I'm going to tell you the biggest problem with working a 9-to-5 job. The typical 9-to-5 work week is dying. Corporate jobs are slowly melting away, and people are slowly realizing that they don't need to rely on an employer to get paid. I hope this video is eye-opening, shocking, and gives you a new perspective on your career and money in general. But you guys, I have to say that a 9-to-5 job is not inherently bad, and it definitely works for a majority of the population. However, and I must stress, however, that does not mean that it is right for you. It doesn't mean that it's weird to stray from this traditional path and do something that's a little bit more crazy. So just a little bit of history about 9-to-5 jobs. Well, the concept of the 9-to-5 job, it first started in 1867 in Illinois. It took a while, but in 1926, Henry Ford started using 8-hour workdays for some of his employees. And then finally in 1938, Franklin Roosevelt, he signed the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. And this basically made working 40 hours standard. Anything you worked above 40 hours would be considered overtime. So the 8-hour workday really came from a good place, because back in those days, people would work a lot. Like they would work 12-hour days. So as a result, this new rule, this new law made it much more manageable for many workers in the United States. But seriously, you guys, this was almost 100 years ago. Do you realize how much the world has changed since then? In my opinion, the world is so much more awesome right now than before. We have the internet, we have outsourcing, we have globalization, and of course we have new types of jobs that mean you don't have to stick with a 9-to-5 job anymore. 9-to-5 jobs in fields such as manufacturing or labor and other things are probably still needed, but in this video I'm focusing more on those corporate careers, those very typical 9-to-5 jobs that people picture when they think about corporate life. One of the biggest problems is that humans just cannot sustain productivity for a long time at all. Like for example, working in an office for 8 hours does not guarantee you that you are productive for all those hours. In fact, research shows that the average employee only has about 3 hours of actual productivity per day. So that literally gives us like 5 hours of non-productive, possibly useless time spent in the office. Funny story, I was talking to one of my friends who actually got an MBA online, and he did this while working a full-time desk job. Like he literally told me that he would spend about 2 to 3 hours in the morning actually working on stuff for the company, and then the rest of the time he would just be pretending to do work and working on his master's. I was like, dang, if I was paying someone to work for 8 hours and they were only working 2 to 3 hours, I'd probably be really pissed off. I mean, in his case, he was still getting the work done, but still, it's like, that's a lot of unneeded time to be in the office. So yeah, as you guys can probably tell, I have a big problem with the traditional 9-to-5 work week. I also have a problem with the fact that many employees are just working to make their bosses more money. Sure, they could be getting experience or they could be learning, but a lot of these people, they're not doing any of those. And certainly you can still learn and gain experience by working for yourself and actually building equity in a company that you own. So the solution, at least in my opinion, is to freelance and work for yourself. Studies show that self-employed people and people that work for themselves are generally much happier than other people, even if they don't know where or when their next paycheck is coming. And the biggest part about why they are happier is because of flexibility, not like yoga flexibility. I'm talking like your day-to-day schedule and things that you have to do during the day. I've personally experienced this, and you guys, just waking up and not having to do the same thing over and over again is just so nice. That is why I'm such a big proponent of working for yourself. I mean, I've done this for pretty much the entire time I've ever been working. I've only worked one 9-to-5 job in my life, and that was during a summer when I was in college. I worked for a family friend at her mortgage company, and yeah, it was definitely not fun. Like the whole routine of waking up in the morning, driving to work, working, having lunch, working, driving back, and then your day's pretty much over. It just made me really depressed, and I was like, I really don't want this to be my life once I graduate college. So that's why I have this channel. I want to help you guys, I want to support you guys and inspire you guys to take these leaps of faith and start working for yourself that most people would be too afraid to do. I want to give you guys the tools you need and the knowledge you need in order to become successful working for yourself. So let's go over some of the biggest problems with 9-to-5 jobs. If you're on salary, you're expected to sit at a desk and work for at least 8 hours per day. Sometimes you feel pressure to stay longer. Sometimes you have unlimited vacation, but you just don't want to take actual vacations because you're feeling too much pressure from your coworkers and from your boss. You're always trying to impress your boss, but likely you're being underpaid, not appreciated, and overworked. You're also just building another person's business. The minute you leave, yes, you have some experience, yes, you have some knowledge, but likely you won't have much equity at all. That is unless you're working for one of those tech companies that is giving out a lot of stock options. That's when working for a company might be pretty smart. But then again, that company might not do well, and when those stock options become worthless. You really never know. You also have no freedom. Like if you get fired one day, the company is going to replace you with someone else. And if the company goes out of business, it's something that you really can't control. Another problem of being in corporate is that likely, I'm not saying for every job out there, likely you could get all the work done that you're supposed to in 4 hours or less. But you have to stay there the rest of the day, and that leaves no flexibility for your schedule, and you might have a terrible work-life balance. I don't think the 40-hour work week is efficient at all. And I also think that a lot of people are missing out in life just by sticking with their cushy jobs. Like think about this. You are driving to work in the morning, it's 8 a.m., it's Friday, you've done this for the last 4 days, and you're just looking forward to getting off, having 2 days of relaxation, and then just starting the whole process over again. Now, to me, that sounds terrible, but I mean, some people, I think they're gonna like that. If you don't like that though, then there is another way to live. Working for yourself gives you more freedom. You don't have a boss, your boss is yourself, and ultimately you decide how many results you get and how hard you work. The number of hours you work really has little significance at all. It's all about your performance. Now, a recent study by MetLife showed that 57% of employees want to go into freelance, and also 77% of millennials would prefer to work for themselves. So there is a lot of interest, at least in people's heads, but the numbers show otherwise. People tend to fall into normal employment because, it's just the traditional way. You make more money at the start, yes, and you are way less likely to fail. Now, whenever I hate on these 9-to-5 jobs, people are always like, hey, what about the bonuses? What about the benefits? What about the stability? Honestly, I just don't give a shit about that. I know that I can just make more money to pay for those things myself, and there really is no ceiling to my income. Although I will say that most starting entrepreneurs, they're gonna be a lot more poor than people working a traditional 9-to-5 job, at least at the very start. That's definitely how it was for me. When I first graduated college, I was an entrepreneur and I was not making that much money. Like my friends in consulting and other better 9-to-5 jobs, they were making way more money than me. But if you are a good entrepreneur, there is gonna be a time where you start to surpass their incomes and you start making a boatload of money. But plus, you guys, it goes way beyond the money. Like for real. The freedom is where it's at. That is the most amazing part about working for yourself. And honestly, you cannot trade freedom for any type of money. But for real though, it's okay to stay with your 9-to-5 job, especially if you're starting out as an entrepreneur. Stay with your job, keep those benefits, but when you get home, or maybe when you're working and you have some downtime, start working on those side hustles. I'm just asking you guys to evaluate and consider what type of life you really want to live. So if you've been hating on your 9-to-5 job, if you've been hating on your 40-hour work week, stop hating on it and just do something about it. I make tons of content about how you can get into side hustles, how you can start building your own business, and this all stemmed from my personal experience. Like when I graduated college, I went straight into working for myself. I can say without a doubt that I love my life, I love my everyday schedule, and I would not change one thing about it. So yeah, I hope this video can inspire you guys to go out there and chase what you want, because just know it is possible. So yeah, those are my thoughts about 9-to-5 jobs and the typical 40-hour work week. Sorry if this video was kind of everywhere. I just had a lot of thoughts that I just wanted to put into a video. So hopefully you guys found it informative, and hopefully you take this information and do something that changes your life. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos just like this. I make a ton of content about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.